What's up, everybody? Welcome to Let's Talk Jets Radio. This is one of your hosts, Tyson Rauch. We broadcast live every Tuesday night at 8 o'clock. You can follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Talk Jets Radio. You can follow us on YouTube, Let's Talk Jets Radio. We appreciate all the support, all the listens. I know it's crazy times, and sometimes we don't want to talk about football, but we appreciate everybody hanging in there with us. This is just a quick rambling from me, Tyson Rauch, about this whole Jamal Adams thing, which is just mind-blowing how this has all played out. I never in a million years thought we'd get here. If you think about this a year ago where we were, like Jamal Adams was, like a young rising star, the best player on the team. He was a player that we all believed in. He was our guy. He was our president. He was staying after practice, signing autographs. And you never would think that a year later we're here where he forced his way out of town. The fans hate him. And now we got draft picks. So pretty crazy scenario. I will say this. I will give Joe Douglas a tremendous amount of credit because there's no way in hell that I thought we would get this kind of compensation. I mean, it's insane. I was thinking that Jamal Adams and all his bullshit was going to just kind of ruin leverage where teams are going to hold out and be like, listen, we're not going to give you. But obviously the Seattle Seahawks believe in him. They believe in his talent. According to reports, he's not getting a contract extension this year. It's going to be next year. He just wants to play for a winner. So the Jets get back. The Jets send Jamal Adams and a 2022 fourth round pick to Seattle. They get back first round pick next year in 2022 as well, a third round pick and safety Bradley McDougald, who will obviously start for Jamal this year. A veteran player, plays very good against the run, versatile, can play. He could play both safety positions. So you basically get a starter back, and then you get a lot of trade compensation. You kind of wish this trade happened before the draft this year so you have compensation on the field this year to get Jamal. I mean, obviously it's a big void. Your emotional leader, he could be your best pass rusher. He brings a lot to the table on the field, and now you lose all that and you don't have the instant gratification. Obviously you get McDougald, but you wish you could have that first round pick this year. You can get the receiver to grow with Sam and everything else. So it sucks in that aspect. But the compensation, man, Jesus Christ, 2 first-round picks. I never in a million years thought the Jets would get that. So you got to give Joe Douglas a lot of credit for holding strong, getting the value that he wanted. I mean, I guess at this point we're going to have to ignore all the noise about what Jamal thinks about Douglas with the contracts, if Adam Gase is a prick or not. I mean, it doesn't really matter. I mean, nobody else is really saying anything, so we got to kind of keep an eye out for things. And there are warning flags. There are red flags. I mean, I have concerns that maybe ownership pulled back and said, Joe Douglas was probably ready to give a contract offer and ownership pulled back. I think there are issues there, but at this point, we just got to move on. And if you think about it in all reality, the only guy left on this team to pay is Sam Darnold. So if you're really doing a true rebuild, which Joe Douglas is trying to do and build through the draft, these draft picks, man, this is the way to do it. First round picks is the way to do it. Now you got to draft well. But if you only have Sam to pay, it's draft well and sign solid free agents, and they'll flourish, and let Sam lead the way. If you have any hope in Adam Gase, it's even better, but this is it. This is your way of truly rebuilding, and you got to kind of buy into it. We don't have much of a choice at this point, but Joe Douglas gets a lot of credit. I mean, this was a shitstorm. I'm sad to see Jamal go, but he had to. I mean, you couldn't have him report to camp at this point because could you imagine that when he reports the constant nonsense? Will he be injured? Will he be not? Who else has he bashed? I mean, he bashed the front office. He bashed the owner. He bashed the coach. Some other teammates were probably pissed off by all his nonsense. So, I mean, the media firestorm will be big initially when you get the instant player reaction saying, hey, what do you think about Jamal being gone? But after that, it dies down. Then it could actually rally these guys. Like, all right, listen, we could overcome him. He could have ruffled some feathers too with all his nonsense last year, where it was more about him. I mean, he could have alienated himself. So it is what it is. I think the Jets were in a situation where they had to do it. I mean, I think they were waiting for the right offer, and they got it, obviously. And you take it and you move on. And everybody moves on. You draft well. You do your best. The one thing I don't want is that this to be a built-in excuse for losing this year. Like, I understand you traded away your best player, and McDougald is a guy that he's not a superstar, obviously, but I don't want this to be an excuse for losing. I mean, you find a way to overcome him. It didn't happen during training camp. It didn't happen during the season. It happened before. So you still have time to prepare. And Greg Williams is a great defensive mind. So, can McDougald be the pass rusher that Adams is? Probably not. But he's good against the run. And find other ways. I mean, you have, all these rookies. And then this is where I was kind of hoping that they would sign a Marcus Golden or something like that to kind of bring a pass rush. In terms of safety play in the corners, you have Ashton Davis, who's got a lot of speed, a lot of versatility. Marcus May, obviously, if he stays healthy, is very good. And now it'll be interesting to see if the Jets, if May starts playing well, do they find a way to keep him next year and maybe re-sign him? So this is just also fascinating. If you're a fan of New York Jets, it's you try to digest all this. I'm rambling, but I'm sorry. It's 6 o'clock in the morning. If you're a fan of the New York Jets, you get upset about all this. You're like, oh, this goddamn team and all this. But you know what the thing is? We still have Sam Darnold. And that's the most important. Like, you worry about the safety and these players. Like, listen, the most important guy, whether this team wins or loses a Super Bowl or even gets Super Bowl, is all on Sam Darnold. The coach is important, but it's the quarterback. The quarterback makes or breaks you, and keep him happy. I mean, he's probably going to be like, what in the fuck have I gotten myself into in New York? Where it's like, I try to come here, I try to win, they're firing coaches, they have billboards up, he gets friggin' mono, now they trade away the best player, now Le'Veon Bell's ripping him. He's probably like, what am I getting myself into? You know what I mean? Like, if I was Sam Darnold, he should be the one asking for a trade. Like, get me the hell out of Dodger. This is insane. But this is it. He is the most important piece of the puzzle. And now with all of this, get pieces around him. Like, this is where, you kind of wish they drafted 2 wide receivers, but find him pieces, man. And then this team will find success. And it's like we get ripped a lot for like bashing Gase and bashing the Jets and stuff like that. But the one thing you got to notice is a lot of people throughout the NFL, respected people, like Dan Orlovsky, who is an excellent, excellent analyst, said the Jets have one of the worst supporting casts in football. And he's like, this is the problem. He's like, Sam Darnold has been put into a terrible situation when you compare it to other ones. Like, if we look at Kyler Murray, look at Josh Allen, look at Baker Mayfield, look at all the guys around him. I mean, it's crazy. Drew Lock. I mean, it's everywhere. So, you look at Louis Riddick. He's questioning. He's like, you question the leadership. You question this. You question the direction they're taking. So the most important plan now amongst this rebuild is build around Sam, get this offensive line in place, get wide receivers that are legitimate and game breaking. Brandon Thorne did an analysis of offensive linemen, and it wasn't very positive about the Jets. Like, a lot of these guys that we're kind of touting as good, like Connor McGovern and he wasn't very high on George Fant, but even Alex Lewis, Van Roten, he was calling like basically second and third tier linemen. Not very, they're all like very, very pedestrian. So that's concerning. But now it's Joe Douglas is getting picks, and he's got to nail them. And do you turn around one of these first round picks and trade them away for a prominent player? Do you go after a receiver or pass rusher? I mean, you could consider it, I guess. But I think this guy wants to build their draft and use all these young players that are at reasonable contracts. And that's the most important thing. If you have 25 or 20 players that are all young starting and giving you big minutes, and they're not making a lot of money, that's how you can go out and sign a megastar and win some football games. But then I guess the most disappointing thing out of all of this, other than losing a guy that we all believed in at one point, is that now Sam's going into the year where it's like, all right, is it going to be a breakout year for him, or is another hold the fort year for next year? Thankfully, he's very young, so you have the time to do that. But man, like you just wish at some point it all clicks in. You're like, all right, we can maximize his potential now. And I think you could say, that may not happen this year either, and that's ridiculously disappointing. So, long story short, I give Joe Douglas a tremendous, tremendous amount of credit for getting this haul for Jamal Adams. I'm shocked. Again, I wish this kind of trade happened in March or April, not now. But either way, he had to go. There was no turning back after the firestorm he created, disrespecting everybody, the front office, his teammates, the fans. I mean, he's blocking fans on social media. He had to go. His act got old. Nobody believed him. He looked like a fraud. And I gave Le'Veon Bell a lot of credit for calling him out on it, because Le'Veon Bell was saying a lot of what we all believed in. So credit to Bell, man. I completely agree with him. Jamal Adams looks like a fraud. And the minute he went to Seattle, he said the same shit to them he's saying to us. Until he gets his new deal, you can't believe a word he says. And then even then you don't believe him. So we'll talk about all this on Tuesday. We thought about doing a impromptu show, but it's the summertime, man. The beach, everything else. We got things going on, and life moves on, man. It's not worth ruining a nice, gorgeous weekend in New Jersey talking about this clown. So I hope everybody's doing well. Stay safe, stay healthy. We appreciate all the support. We appreciate the Jets never being a dull moment, because this is just crazy. And hopefully Joe Douglas has a plan and turns these picks into something, and we can finally talk about a winning football team. So that's it. Tyson Rauch. I'll talk to you guys next time.